So one of the pleasant surprises of moving to Edmonton is these tree-lined streets in the older neighborhoods. They provide abundant shade for pedestrians and bicyclists. I can ride up and down these streets for kilometers and stay pretty much in the shade and out of the hot sun. So the speed limit on these pedestrian streets is set at 40 kilometers an hour, and that's otherwise posted. Near playgrounds and schools, it drops down to 30 kilometers an hour. Not sure how old these trees are. I'm going to estimate 50 to 70 years old. They grow up to looks like 20 meters. I think these are between 15 and 25 meters high. It's a pretty low dense area, low dense population area, in that there's only a few multi-family units. Mostly are single family detached. The odd duplex thrown in and sprinkling of multi-fourplex units. So it makes it great for walking in the summertime and rollerblading. So it's good that the city has put a priority on maintaining these old trees. You see in spots where there's construction near the trees, and I guess they have to put a barricade up around the tree to prevent damage to the tree. Where I relocated from, my other city, the trees, they planted a bunch of trees. I remember late 60s, the city went around, planted a bunch of trees on the boulevards of our residential street, but they didn't last long. A few years, finally they died. But here they've survived, and maybe because they don't use salt in the wintertime on the streets as a de-icer, that might have had a bearing on these trees surviving and staying healthy. I'm not sure what species these trees are. Tried to look it up, and matching the leaf, closest match was an American elm. But it wasn't an exact match. So this is some sort of a elm species. These older neighborhoods are redoing a lot of the old houses. A lot of these houses date back to the 50s. So they're either tearing them down and they're putting in what's called insets, which is just a bigger single family, usually a single family detached building. Some places they put in a duplex, but usually it's a single family detached, but a lot bigger than what used to be there. Up here. So there's block after block after block of these old residential neighborhoods that have these trees, these big old trees lining them. And we have the odd rabbit running around. I guess they get into people's gardens and they really like lettuce. So here's a good example of the barricades put up around the trees to protect them. That's a smaller tree, same species. So most of these trees look to be about the same age, except here and there you'll see a smaller tree, probably where the original tree didn't survive and they replanted later. The newer neighborhoods don't tend to have these trees. And you'll see that the boulevard is non-existent. The sidewalk is right up to the road. There's no room for planting these trees. It's kind of a shame. Those old trees certainly make the city more livable. So I think what they do is they confiscate by putting in these neighborhood parks. With benches and nice lawn, but lots of trees. A few trees. Magpie seems to be the dominant bird species here. A little bit smaller than a crow, about as noisy. Like I said, the new neighborhoods don't have the boulevards and they don't have the trees. The older neighborhoods have these big boulevards separating the sidewalk from the road, and that's where they planted the trees. Makes the area very livable. I think trees help to cut down on the noise. They absorb a lot of the noise. So like I said, the speed limit on residential streets are pretty well set at 40 kilometers an hour. And people more or less pretty well adhere to that speed limit. People don't race something down these residential streets mostly. So that helps the noise, and it helps you when you're biking around. You don't have to feel so nervous. Like I said, the houses date back to the early 50s. I think they call them wartime houses. They were actually, I think, houses given to veterans coming back from World War II. So they're smaller but well built. Well, it's good that somebody had the foresight to plant these trees and maintain them. Place is also very well serviced by public transit, buses, and light rail transit system, or light train, LTRs, LRTs, light rail transit. The buses have the racks for putting your bikes on, so you could take your bike on a bus somewhere and take it off and bike there. This is one example of one of those insets. They're taller. Bigger. So the sprinkling of multi-family units, usually fourplex, duplex to a fourplex. These this is the Montrose neighborhood. All these sub neighborhoods have a kind of a community building, or a community, not a center, but a community center. Provide for recreation.